What's
that's
worse,
all I want to get at.
left-handed or Michigan?
Ooh, what
Ooh.
is worse, left-handed or Michigan?
Is it a quarterback or is it any other position?
Welcome to another episode of Boom or Bust, the draft show. Max Chadwick alongside PJ Clark, Tate Sigworth, and Nick Merriam. Continue our top 10 positional series. Now moving to the defensive side of the ball with our top 10 edges in the 2021 NFL Draft, breaking them down as they stand on our big board right now. Of course, be sure to follow our Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Boom or Bust Draft. We're on YouTube. Anywhere you get your podcast, please like and subscribe to the channel and comment any questions that you have for our mailbag. And please support us, because support for us is brought to you by PJ. There we go. Manscaped, baby. And COVID spring break is right around the corner, and you know what that means. Spring break in your pants. Manscaped is here to ensure that the party in your pants never stops. Even Veronica Corningstone wouldn't say no to this pants party. For everyone preparing for a pants party, this is awesome. For everyone preparing for a pants party this spring break, I have an exclusive 20% off discount. Use the code BOOMORBUST. That is Boom or Bust, no spaces, all caps, at manscaped.com for 20% off your purchase and free international shipping. Guys, I am in love with Manscaped. I don't know about you guys.
That was an elite elite ad read by you, by the way. And I just have to say, so while we were practicing, Max is obviously not in his usual spot. You may recognize the background for somebody else here, but I was on Manscaped duty and I nicked my windscreen, which is just objectively hilarious. But that's how good the razor is on this thing. So,
but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's safe.
High quality.
It's a safe razor as well. Just previewing, there was an NFL draft read they gave us too, which is
one of the greatest things I've ever read.
So just whoever wrote that is winning a Nobel Prize.
I haven't read it yet. Now I have to read it.
It is we'll save it. We'll save it because it's unreal. So please, manscaped.com, use the promo code Boom or Bust, all no spaces, all caps, for 20% off your purchase and free shipping. So our top 10 edges now. Number 10, Chris Rumph the second from Duke. Woo! Number 73 on the big board. Tate, what do you think about him?
Alignment versatility. Biggest thing with Chris Rumph. You can just line him up from anywhere. Duke just let him kind of have just free range. He would wander around pre-snap and then just kind of like show up in a gap and rush the quarterback. Whatever gap it was, A, B, it didn't matter. He would get home. Football IQ, he's really smart. Play recognition. He's got a pretty good repertoire of pass rush moves. His dad is the Texans' offensive or outside linebacker coach. So a little bit of pedigree there for the folks.
He's got hired.
Oh, he's at the Bears now? Okay, I missed that.
Yeah, he literally just got promoted to a
D
line coach.
Oh, big shout out Chris Rumph Sr.
Big year for the Rumph family.
Shout out Chris Rumph Sr.
Clap it up, folks. Clap it up. Things maybe Chris Rumph could improve on. I saw a lot of booby tackling. I don't know if that's an actual term. It's just what my football coach called tackling really high, tackling at the shoulder pads, booby tackling. He added weight in 2020. He was 225 pounds, which is very light. And this year, you saw a little bit of a dip in production. It's just going to come down to, also 7 penalties this year, but it's going to come down to scheme, man. How are you going to use him? He's just not your traditional edge guy just because of his frame. It's all about scheme and what team he gets drafted to.
So Chris Rumph has the potential to get really, really fun. Like if you just line him up and just like situational pass rusher and just get fun with Chris Rumph, like I think he's going to be fine. Like elite. Like I can't overstate how great he was in 2019. Like literally was the best returning edge in the country this year. And like, okay, so 225 pounds, kind of small, added weight, didn't entirely fall off a cliff, was better than on my rewatch than I remember him being during the season. So 48 pressures in 2019, had 44 this year. We're still getting in the backfield. The thing I noticed this year more, a lot of missed tackles. like a lot of missed tackles, which is not good. And I would prefer if my defensive ends could tackle somebody. I don't know where you're going to play because 235 pounds. Is he more of an outside linebacker guy? Are you ever going to throw him in coverage? I just think he's like, get him in on third down, situational pass rusher, which, you know, where do you draft the only pass rush guy? But he's really like, he has a knack, even at his size, to get there 48 and 44 pressures in back-to-back years. The production, traits be damned, the production is just speaking for itself.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take a page out of the PJ book and just give it to you straight. Chris Rumph is fine. He's fine. You know, he put on some weight, needed to, and then was not as good of a player this year, I think, as he was last year. And hopefully that this going to the NFL will help him continue to get better as an edge rusher. But right now he's playing at a different body weight than he ever has in his career. Clearly, I think affected him in college, and in the NFL now it's going to be even harder. So his draft stock, I mean, we were kind of thinking like borderline first round guy at the beginning of the year. He's taking a bit of a hit. Outside linebacker is a tough one because you're not just going to stick. There are teams that if they're playing 4-3, you're just not going to play outside linebacker and be like a pass rusher. If you're playing a 3-4, I guess that gives you an opportunity, but I really don't. You know, I guess you got to go to a place like Pittsburgh where you already have a lot of talent, so you can kind of, you know, let this guy play with good players around him. And if he's like a problem, then, you know, at least he's learning. I don't know. Chris Rumph is in a weird spot for an edge rusher right now, just because you don't see too many 235-pound guys coming out, and you really don't see too many 235-pound guys coming out whose best year was at 220 pounds. So I don't know. This is going to be an ongoing thing where Nick looks at an edge rusher's tape and goes, oh, all right, let's see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, he's the number 10 edge for me, number 69 overall.
Nice.
His dad, Chris Sr., is the Bears defensive line coach, and Rumph embodies a coach's son to a T. Not the biggest, not the most athletic, but excellent technique. NFL-ready arsenal of pass rushing moves in his toolbox. Never predetermines his moves. He's very good at reacting to the offensive tackle. Dominant in 2019. PJ, you hit on it. Also 13.5 tackles for the loss. Really good run defender too. Big step back this year though. Still solid as a pass rusher, but not a good run defender. Missed 11 tackles on just 31 attempts. Really small. You guys hit on it. 42 pounds lighter than the average. He beefed up, quote unquote, beefed up to 235, and still was not that good. He lost explosiveness, so not a good enough athlete to make up for his size deficiencies. Likely, I've heard talk about him becoming a blitzing off-ball linebacker, but only 77 career snaps in coverage. If you're keeping him at edge, he probably can only be a situational edge rusher still, so technically sound that he can make an impact on day one. So number 9 now, Ronnie Perkins from Oklahoma, number 61 on Big Board 2.0. Nick, what do you think about him?
Well, he's shooting up the boards. I messed up, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know why I had Ronnie Perkins so low. I
don't know why you did either.
I think in the video back in when we did like a high lows on our initial big board, I think I had him higher than most, and I said that. So I don't know what I was doing. Nick from like a couple months ago was just on something. But yeah, he had some off-field concerns, I believe, but I was back this year and was better than ever. Mixture of athlete and technically sound pass rusher. He's got a little bit of everything. He's put it together, and that because of that, he's on the right track, I think, for the NFL. He's not the biggest guy, but and I don't think he's the fastest either. But I think in terms of pass rush moves, he makes it work. Only edge defender with a 90+ run defense and pass rush grade for PFF this year. He was dominant for Oklahoma, and particularly in this game against Oklahoma State, where he just set the tone over and over again. Just bull rushing, getting around guys, threw Tevin Jenkins to the ground at one point. He was an absolute monster in that game and set the tone early for an easy Oklahoma win at that point. This is the type of guy that I think, just from how he's played in big games throughout his career, when the NFL teams look at him, he's eventually going to end up getting picked very high. I think he's going to be a high second-round pick. Jets 35. Hey, take him. I think he would work there.
I'm gonna one up you. So welcome to Edge 3. Ronnie Perkins. So
wow.
when we did the Big Board 2.0 like 2 weeks ago, I had him at 38. I've only been doing positional rankings, but hello, Ronnie Welcome. Yeah, edge 3 for me. I just think the ceiling is so high. So my edge 1 and my edge 3, Ronnie Perkins, the off the field. I'm just going to kind of go over what I said 2 weeks ago. Off the field, failed the drug test, was suspended for the first half of this year. Not great, right? Don't do drugs. I'd prefer if you didn't do that. When he came back, though, turned it on. Like, awesome. The game against Kansas, he had 11 pressures. He dominated Tevin Jenkins. He was good against Florida in the bowl game for them. He had a good championship game against Iowa State, just constantly in the backfield, pushing guys out of the way, using speed, using power, one-arm Tevin Jenkins to the ground. Like, I just think he's very technically sound. He's a great athlete. And I think the missing the first half of this year has made a lot of people sleep on him. But to me, this is a first-round talent, bona fide. Jets at 23, go for it. Much less 34.
Yeah, I like him. I think I had him in the 3rd round on our first or big board 2.0. I think I move him up into like mid-2nd round. I don't know. I'm not saying he's a first-round pick. He's good. Quick off the snap. He's got really nice speed. Good bend around the outside for sure. He's very strong. I think like PJ mentioned. He's also just a dog. You can tell. Hunting down the quarterback. Every snap, he just looks like he wants to kill the quarterback. That game versus Oklahoma State when he was just like bullying Spencer Saunders and made him want to just like, go in a hole and cry. You could tell. But yeah, I mean, I also have questions about did he benefit from playing across Nick Bonito this year? Yeah, probably, assuredly. I think tackling, I think sometimes he just lunges into tackles, bent over, maybe just to clean that up a little bit. And then the drug suspension, which I don't know, maybe that's not a huge deal in the NFL. But I don't know. I like him. I think he's good. I could be wrong about this. Maybe I got to go back and watch more Ronnie Perkins. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's number 8 edge for me, number 53 overall. Crazy athletic, ridiculously flexible, great speed, can turn the corner as well as any edge in this draft, I think. He's a really underrated run defender. I think he might be the best run defender in this draft in terms of edges. Stacks offensive lineman, explodes into the hole and finds a running back. Decent tackler. He only missed 13 of his 77 career attempts. Took his pass rushing to a new level this year. 32 pressures on just 175 pass rushes this year. Took a really big leap. He was decent last year, meh the year before. Only 49 combined pressures, almost 600 pass rushes in those 2 years. This year was only 6 games, too. He's undersized a little bit, 6'3", 247. Needs to add a little bit of strength to survive the next level. High ceiling with his athleticism. But can he add strength and keep up the 2020 level of play? Number 8 now, guy who doesn't need to add strength, Rashad Weaver from Pitt, number 48 overall on the big board. PJ, what do you think about him?
So I have talked a lot about Rashad Weaver on this here show multiple times through like every big board video we do because I just end up being the low man. Like, I think Rashad Weaver is fine, right? I'm just going to pull the Nick pulling a me. Rashad Weaver's fine. I think if you want to talk about a guy who benefited from being on a great defensive line, we're talking about Rashad Weaver playing with Patrick Jones and Jalen Twyman. Listen, like, he is what he is. I think he's good. I think he's a fine run defender. I think he's a good pass rusher. Mostly power moves, which at his size, gonna work for you. I just think, I have questions about both Pitt guys. To me, Patrick Jones was always better than Rashad Weaver, and I still have it that way even after the meh Senior Bowl. But he's gonna be fine. Like, he's a late 2nd round, early 3rd round guy. This edge class is like, there's no tiers. There's no levels to any of this. All these guys are relatively the same. You can put them in any order. I just like, to me, he is what he is. He doesn't have the athletic high ceiling to me like Ronnie Perkins. Like, he's just a big edge, which is fine, but it's just lower because it's not really an athletic thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, he's got these really nice polished hands. I think he's got a good mix of pass rush moves, size and length. I mean, it's the NFL size, 6'5", 270. I like that. PJ mentioned just the power rushes, and Max also mentioned the power rushes. He's very, very strong. He had his career best season coming off an ACL tear. That's just interesting. Tied for 5th in the country in pressures. Yes, he benefited from Patrick Jones. Yeah, Nick would know. But yeah, just average athleticism for his position. I don't think he has a really interesting bend. I don't think he's that explosive or that quick. He's also going to be 24 during his rookie season, which is just not great if you're talking about a first-round talent. 21 missed tackles in 2018. I think he's moving down my board, honestly. I don't think the ceiling, I think he's a high floor, low ceiling guy. I don't know he's really going to improve much more.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the problem with this year's edge class, right? Is you got a lot of these day 2, second round guys. I personally have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 second round grades on these guys. And just the general thing with NFL edge rushers is the good ones are first round picks. You know, like they're pretty. It's pretty easy to measure now with analytics, like who's a good edge rusher. You look at win rate, and these guys are all like good, not fantastic players. And Rashad Weaver kind of exemplifies that. He's got good pass rush moves for a power only type guy, but he doesn't have the speed to be more than that. I wonder if a team tries to move him up and down the line a little bit, play him at more than just edge, because he is 270, but which is not big enough to play DT, but he's gonna have that power moves maybe to give himself a shot. Pittsburgh all of their D line really, but particularly Patrick Jones and Rashad Weaver, fantastic get off. They just get off on the snap and they get in the backfield much quicker, and that gives you such an advantage. When you're able to just be the first guy off the ball, right past a tackle, that's something that will translate to the NFL regardless and give him an advantage. Look at Chase Young, just some of the best get off you've ever seen from an edge rusher. He clearly is still moving pass rush moves, but your ability to just be halfway out of your stance before the tackle gives you a real advantage. High floor guy, again, like we said. Just again, hard though. I mean, this is Nick doing this again. I don't know. Like, what are we gonna do? I don't know.
I really like Rashad Weaver. He's my number 6 edge, 39th overall. Great size. 6'5", 270 pounds. Really good run defender. Uses his power really well there. 28 tackles for loss in the last 2 years he played. Elite pass rusher this year. 48 pressures and 7.5 sacks on only 300 snaps. Really good technique. His hand placement, I think, is really good. Uses his length well. Disengages from blocks. You guys mentioned, though, not a great athlete, not going to blow anyone away with his speed or explosiveness. Not a good tackler. Missed 26 of his 101 attempts in his career. Missed all of 19 with a torn ACL, too. Already 23 years old. Doesn't have a high ceiling, but he's got a really high floor, I think, which is valuable in the NFL. So number 7 now, Quincy Roche from Miami, number 43 on the big board. Tate, what do you think about him?
He's powerful. He's explosive. I think he's got good technique. I think this is just another high floor, low ceiling guy. I don't know how much more improvement you're going to get out of Quincy Roche. He's going to be 23 by draft day. Success in 2 conferences. I mean, that's the big thing with Roche. He dominated at Temple, 68 pressures in 2019, just ridiculous. And then came into Miami this year. Obviously, he was playing across from JAELAN Phillips, that we're going to get to. But he played well in the ACC. Which is something you wanted to see. He's just the average athleticism, I think, is going to cap him in terms of his long-term career trajectory. But, I think he's good. I think he can come in year 1 and help out at your football team. The power and the explosiveness, I think it's all there with Roche.
So if you were to sum up Quincy Roche in one word to me, it would be average. Just average athleticism, average power, average size, just average pretty much everything. He had a great season last season at Temple and then showed up at Miami this year, and everybody was like, Rousseau and Quincy Roche, right? Great. Rousseau didn't play, and JAELAN Phillips was the Miami edge rusher that everybody started caring about. Happens. He doesn't win in a lot of ways. He's very uncreative. For such an experienced guy, I think that's kind of weird. He's got like a couple just moves that he likes to go to, and he relies on them. And I think if he doesn't, he really threatens outside most of the time, and he never really tries to rush inside, which is concerning. Lack of creativity. I just think he's average. He's solid. He is what he is. He had 4.5 sacks this year in his first Power 5 conference. Like, I think he's like another low 2, high 3 guy. This is a guy that had first round hype coming into the year, and I didn't see it.
I liked what I saw from Quincy Roche early this year. After maybe the first couple games weren't great, and I didn't necessarily know that he was going to be great coming out of Temple. But he produced at Temple. He came to Miami, produced again. Versatile off ball. I think he could be a really good 3-4 outside linebacker. Baited Trevor Lawrence earlier this year into an interception. It was partially a mistake by Lawrence, but still, I mean, you like to see stuff like that, especially from a guy who's supposed to be playing edge. One of the best benders in the class, I think. He has great balance. I think he really does a good job of leaning and keeping his feet. I am a little concerned about the pass rush moves. I think he kind of just uses his speed to his advantage right now. That's kind of a thing with some of these higher guys that I have on my board, other than Ronnie Perkins, is that they're just kind of just fast at the moment, and they kind of need to learn a little bit more what to do with their hands and stuff like that. Inconsistent tackler. Again, another guy who played on a great D-line, so he's kind of being propped up by that here towards the end of his career. But he has got great instincts. I think he reads plays fantastically. He's a very smart player, in my opinion. Tacks the ball, forced quite a few turnovers this year for Miami, and had a good Senior Bowl, which usually is a good sign for these guys coming to the NFL. So for me, I got a high second-round grade on him, and I think his ceiling is capped. But this is one of those guys I think I have a better read on compared to others, just because he did play for two different teams, and he was relatively the same player for both of them, I think. And I think he would fit into a place like Green Bay or Denver, who has those kind of off-ball linebackers and is looking for guys who can be more versatile and kind of move around the field and use their speed.
Yeah, he's number 7 edge for me, number 42 overall. One of the most productive pass rushers in this draft. 175 pressures and 30.5 sacks in 4 years. Dominated, I think, at both the Group of 5 and Power 5 level. Played well at Miami this year. Reads and reacts to tackles really well. Always seems to be in the right place at the right time. Fills the holes in the run game. Read a jet sweep versus Pitt absolutely perfectly. Solid tackler. Only missed 22 tackles on 136 attempts in his career. Undersized, though. 6'3", 245. Not very athletic, despite being undersized. Redshirt senior. He's going to be 23 on draft day. Roche is a low ceiling like Rashad Weaver, but he's so technically sound, I think, that he's got a high enough floor to take in the second round. So number 6 now, Carlos Basham Jr. from Wake Forest, number 42 on the big board. Nick, what do you think about him?
So this is going the opposite direction now. Now this is a guy that if he gets drafted by a 3-4 team is playing defensive tackle. We talk about Rashad Weaver being a power moves guy. That's who Carlos Basham is. He is not going to beat you with speed. He is going to try and overpower you. He's going to try and collapse the pocket. He's going to try and get the quarterback to move towards the other side of the offensive line, which is why you have to combine him hopefully with a team that has a speed rusher, maybe like perhaps at Tennessee who has Harold Landry. I don't know. But being limited by just having those power pass rushing moves is a problem. Again, these guys are all going to be capped if they can only win one way, because you can kind of guess what a guy's going to do if his way of winning is trying to get under your pad level and pushing you backwards, or fending you off with one hand and trying to turn your other shoulder with a strong arm, which is kind of the only two things you can do with power. You can do a couple of different things with speed as well, but there's a difference between being able to beat you 2 ways and 4 ways at the NFL level. It's kind of like, I don't want to call it rock, paper, scissors, but kind of pass rushing is kind of like that. And Carlos Basham is going to be limited by the fact that he is just kind of a big guy who is going to try and run you over. And he was good at the Senior Bowl. Love to see it. He's a mid-second round pick.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. He's a big dude, and he just is going to try to overpower any tackle he's up against, which is fine, right? Much like Rashad Weaver, Quincy Roche. We're in the I hate to steal Nick's little shrug here, but all of these guys are like, they are what they are, right? It's not you're not going to tell giant Carlos Basham like, oh, go rip around somebody on the edge. It's like, it's not happening, dude. But this is like, I don't know why anybody would draft him if you didn't run a 4-3. Like, he's a defensive end. Like, that's just how it's going to work. So I think he's scheme dependent, kind of like Kwity Paye. That was a negative I had for him. Obviously, Kwity Paye's a lot better than him. But this is a guy that had a great 2019, could have come out last year and didn't, and thought like, oh, this is kind of a weaker edge class, which it is, as personified by all of these guys are like, meh, and didn't really do much with his 2020. But good Senior Bowl. I just think it's like, it's power move, power move, power move, and I don't know what much difference you're getting from Carlos Basham.
Yeah, pretty thick, pretty dense, a lot of strength in his frame. I think he's pretty quick off the line too for 280 pounds. I think he had a really nice Senior Bowl. I think there just were so many reps where it was just instant pressure from Boogie. He also had just ridiculous production in 2018, 2019, 60 pressures 2019, 52 pressures in 2018. Obviously a down year in 2020, which isn't something you want to see. Want to see more consistency from him overall, game to game, season to season. He is going to turn 24 in his December of his rookie season. He isn't just a long freak athlete like Gregory Rousseau. But I just think there's a dynamic alignment thing about him. You can play him in a 4-3, you can move him up and down your line from a couple different gaps. And that's kind of what I like about Boogie.
Yeah, he's number 9 edge for me, number 65 overall. Massive. 285 pounds, 6'5", 18 pounds heavier than the average edge. Freaky tools, though, man. He benched more than 400 pounds, squats more than 700 pounds, 36-inch vertical, which is 3 inches better than the average for edge. Ran a 4.21 in the 20-yard shuttle, which is 0.2 faster. He's also on Wake Forest kickoff team. That's how freaky of an athlete that he is. He is really good get off with his explosiveness. Really good swim move. He can get around off tackles with ease. Can use his power to bully tackles. Really good in 2018, really good in 2019. 112 pressures, 14.5 sacks. Also 29 tackles for loss. Took a step back, though, this year. He had 25 pressures. Looked significantly worse as a run defender. Only 4.5 tackles for loss. Never a good tackler. He missed 35 of his 144 career attempts. Doesn't always use his power either. Tries to use his swim move too often. Looks like he got tired at points, too. He should lose, I think, 5 to 10 pounds to maintain his explosiveness all game. All the tools, but he didn't look nearly as good in 2020 as he did in 2018 and 2019. He needs a good D-line coach to fully unlock his potential with his tools. Number 5 now, another toolsy guy, JAYSON OWEH from Penn State, number 34 overall on the big board. PJ, what do you think about him?
Well, you just said toolsy because, listen, I'm going to preface this with I like JAYSON OWEH. He did not have a sack in 2020. It's mildly concerning. It's a little bit concerning. But what I like about JAYSON OWEH is he is like high motor, like crazy high motor. This guy never stops chasing the ball. He is all over the place and he's fast. He's crazy fast, which I think is, big. Crazy athlete. Max, I know you have the number. I don't have it written down, but I know you have it somewhere for the Penn State guy.
4.33.
Yeah, there you go. 4.33. You'll take that off the edge. But even though he didn't have any sacks this year, which, again, little worries, was still getting pressure, was still disrupting. Tackles for loss were good. It's just, it's weird to have this guy getting like, I have him in the first round still, first round hype or, top 40 at the least. And it's like, he just didn't have a sack. And I don't remember the last time that happened, that a guy was going to go in the first round that had literally no production this year. Just something to be aware of, but I like him. I mean, he's the best athlete, I think, of this class. I've actually said it 4.33. It's just you're banking on these athletic tools, whereas the production didn't really follow up.
Yeah, I mean, 4.33. Just kind of let that
there it is.
Just filter
just
around, let it, see how it feels inside. That's really fast. That's faster than the average for every position on the football field. From your edge defender, that's kind of crazy. He's got really good length, a lot of traits, a lot of tools. But yeah, PJ hit it. It's the production. I think he's still raw. Needs more experience. He just doesn't have a lot of power. The high motor thing, chasing down dudes as a backside defender on run plays, like that's sick. But yeah, I don't know. 4.3 guy, not really an outside linebacker type for me. And a 3.4. It's the production question. The tools are there. A 4.33 from an edge guy is like, that's just the first thing I have on my page. 4.33. Like let's just think about that. That's crazy.
We're forgetting our rule. What's our rule about 40 times we haven't seen on laser?
Yeah, I was gonna say that it's a Penn State reported time, but hey, look, they back it up in the combine though. To be fair, like
either way,
and Barkley.
4.43. If we're saying that's what it is, if we add a 10,
I mean, okay,
impressive, like
still
very
good, still good.
I don't believe that,
and it matches up on tape. It's all there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he hasn't learned at all how to use his speed as an edge rusher yet. Maybe as a run defender. JAYSON OWEH, great athlete. Love to see that. out of an edge player. This is what gets these guys to go in the first round. It's just all these project. Montez Sweat blows up the combine, doesn't have great production, and Washington trades up to take him in the first round. And if not for a heart issue, he probably goes. Which, by the way, like not an issue at all. Probably goes top 12 in that draft. I don't know. So Jayson Oweh is in that mold of a player with even less production. And it concerns me just because I think Jayson Oweh doesn't really know what he's doing at all, like more than like any guy that I've said this about like this year. So there's a bit of ways in terms of like learning to play football for him. But again, like what do you do with someone like this? Like really, have you ever seen a guy who might set the 40 time record for an edge rusher and just, has these amazing effort plays and does things that clearly other edge rushers, even in the NFL, can't do, but he's just not very good at edge rushing, like what do you do with this guy? I don't know. Second round grade, I guess. I don't know. He's going to go in the first, which is fine, but if I'm a GM, like this is why I'm probably staying. I'm hoping I've already got my edge rushers this year because this is just a mess.
It is a mess. Yeah, he's the number 3 edge for me, number 28 overall. Some of the freakiest tools you'll ever see for an edge rusher. I don't think I'm even high man on Jayson Oweh. He had a shot at breaking Montez Sweat's record 40 time. Sweat ran a 4.41. Oweh reportedly ran a 4.33, probably a little slower than that. Also, 36-inch vertical, 10-foot 7-inch broad jump, which is a foot better than the average. You get bench 380, power clean 365, body fat 4.9%, which is
like
crazy. It is, yeah, borderline unhealthy. On the field, he became an elite run defender. That was his big con coming in. Was his run defending was awful. Became a really good run defender this year. He had 6.5 tackles for loss in 7 games. Uses leverage much better than last year when he over pursued and misses assignments. Can chase down running backs with his speed. Sack totals don't show it. 0 sacks. Still solid as a pass rusher this year and throughout his career. 20 pressures, 5 QB hits on 171 pass rushers this year. Always a very solid tackler. Only 5 missed tackles on 44 attempts. Didn't have a single sack, though, this year. You mentioned it. After 5 in 2019. Was a rotational edge rusher for Penn State until this year. Still learning the position. Not many pass rush moves to speak of. Just tries to win by his explosiveness. Also, 10 of his 20 pressures this year came against Indiana, which is one of the worst O-lines. Worst O-lines in the country. Never came close to that level of dominance as a pass rusher in the other 6 games. Doesn't play with power. He's kind of lean. He's 6'5", 252. Freaky tools, though. Deserve a look in the first round, but he needs a lot of coaching before he can fully unlock all those tools. If he gets good coaching, though, watch out, because this guy is a freak athlete. Number 4, Jaelan Phillips from Miami, number 32 on the big board. Tate, what do you think about Jaelan Phillips?
Before I begin, you mentioned Oweh's body fat percentage. Max, what do you think your body fat percentage is? Can I get an over-under on that?
Oh, this is me. This is me.
Can we calculate it?
You need like
we
a
probably could.
scale.
Maybe we get that for the combine.
We'll get that for the combine. We'll get that for the combine.
Yeah,
I know what
we'll
mine
get that
is.
for the combine.
It's 4%. It's ridiculous. It's like this is ridiculous.
Save it for the combine.
Yeah.
All right, we're back to edge 1. Go.
All right, back. Jaelan Phillips. I don't know about edge 1. Let's calm down over there, Peter. Jaelan Phillips is probably the most. Not probably. He is the most naturally talented edge in this class. Even better than Jayson Oweh and all of his tools. The length, the height, the weight, athleticism, technique. It's all there. Run and pass defending. It's all there.
Where's the buzzword?
Pedigree, 5 or 5-star recruit.
No, not
thank you, Peter.
5-star.
No,
not 5-star.
1.
No, 1. 1.
Number 1 overall.
Okay, 5-star recruit. Yeah, it's just the concussions, man. That's just my holdup. Concussions don't just go away. It's not like if you have an ongoing concussion issue, they don't just disappear. Jaelan Phillips retired from football because of concussions, and then he just came back and just dominated in 2020. This is just the holdup. It's 1 year of serious production, dominant 2020. He was average in 2017. Didn't really even play that much in 2018 before retiring and then coming back. It's just the holdup for me, man. I know he's really good. I know he's really talented. He could be really, really good in the NFL. I'm just holding up because he retired because of concussions.
Jaelan Phillips is the best football player we're talking about in this video. I don't think it's particularly close. He's edge one. I think he's number 12 for me right now. He might be higher. If I had to bet on an edge in this, I'm doing it. I'm taking the swing. We ought to talk about high ceiling, low floor. This is pretty much it. This is it. If he's high ceiling, like he's one of the best edge rushers in the league, because as we said, 5-star recruit, number 1 overall player in the class of 2017, has all of the pedigree you want, but history of concussions. There's the love of football questions because he did retire and he walked away and nobody knew if he was going to come back. But I mean, you just look at the tape from this year and it's like, it's not even close to me. He's the best player we're talking about here. And he's got versatile moves. He can play inside. He can play outside. He's 6'6". He's ginormous. He back-to-back games. It's Virginia Tech and Duke are the 2 games you got to go watch and tell me that guy is not the best edge rusher in the country. And he was. And if I'm taking the swing, I'll go down swinging. He's going to be a value pick for me wherever he goes because nobody's going to take him in the top 10, maybe justifiably so. And we're not getting a combine to get the medicals, but I'm sure there will be reports out there somewhere. But for me, for my money, he's edge one. I really don't think it's close.
Concussions are rough. The love of football thing, kind of waiting on. Interviews generally give us a sense of things like that. And although none of us are in those interview rooms, I'm certain all of us have our own NFL draft pages where we get rumors from, and you can kind of sculpt an idea what's going on there from that, hopefully. Now, the thing that concerns me that came up on tape that, from hearing that is I think he's got some effort issues. I think he'll do like a great thing on the field, and he'll, clearly, he's very naturally talented. There's a reason he's the number 1 overall prospect. Out of high school. Or recruit. Sorry, I'm getting words mixed up because I don't care about high school recruits. Sorry, I don't care if you're 5-star or 3-star. It doesn't matter.
Caleb Williams yesterday.
Caleb Williams is fantastic. Like, he's from DC. That's all that matters. It wouldn't matter to me if he's 3-star or
2026 guy.
He's going to be great with Oklahoma.
2026. Watch out.
2026. Watch out. Hopefully Washington gets him and wins every Super Bowl. That'd be the sickest thing ever. Yeah, what were we just talking? Jaelan
We're
Phillips.
doing a lot of tangents for my
There's
favorite player in this class.
Guys.
I don't like this.
There's a lot of things going on. We're bubbling off into other parts of the web here. We gotta
too many tangents.
Fill it in. Yeah. The last thing with Jaelan Phillips that I don't like, and I think has been used as like a reasoning for giving this guy top 20, is there was a video of him like running on a treadmill, like 23 miles per hour, which.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
Like, whatever. And then all of his teammates are like, this guy is the fastest person I've ever seen. Well, guess what? He lasered like a 4.6, and he doesn't look that fast on tape. Sorry, I don't think he's that fast. And that's kind of been a thing. A lot of mock draft experts on like websites have been like, this guy's really fast. He's kind of just a toolsy, technique-based guy who has a lot of pass rush moves. He's not really going to beat you with speed. That being said, you can still be very good with tools and an array of pass rush moves. But the questions for me make him a high 2nd-round pick. He'll probably go 1st round. Someone will take a chance on him. My bet's the Raiders will do it just because he seems like a Raider. So let's just say that, move on.
He's the number 4 edge for me, number 32 overall. Mentioned it, number 1 overall recruit. You can tell by his tools. Great size, great length at 6'5", 266. Really good power and really good athleticism as well.
Know what they're talking about.
They might know what they're talking about. They might. He finally put it all together as a pass rusher this year, man. 42 pressures, 8 sacks on only 284 pass rushes. Great run defender as well. 15.5 tackles for loss. Maybe the best tackler in this ed class. Only 12 missed tackles on 65 attempts in his career. Big knock. You guys hit on it. Medical history. He actually, in 2018, he got hit by a car while he was riding a scooter at UCLA, hurt his wrist, got a concussion, then suffered another concussion, and then retired, then unretired and decided to transfer to Miami. The question is, will he retire again with more injuries? And again, first year, we really saw him put it all together. Didn't look great in 2017. or 2018. Didn't play in 2019. Finally capitalized on his unreal talent this year. If it weren't for his injury history and the fact that he retired once already, he could be a top 15 pick. But because of the injury history, I take a shot later in the first round. So number 3 now, the third Miami edge rusher on this video, Gregory Rousseau, number 26 on the big board. So we did a video on him already, so I'm going to let PJ go here. Please check out the Gregory Rousseau video.
Go ahead,
PJ, what do you think about him?
So I have a Gregory Rousseau take that is not wildly popular. Although, by the time we did that video, I do just want to say, the consensus on Gregory Rousseau has considerably come down back to earth. Like, since
yeah, they watched our video.
Like we
really, were first.
There are a lot
Zach
of
Wilson. We were in on Zach.
Yeah, like the consensus on Greg Rousseau is falling, which makes me feel better. Are we sure this guy's first round pick? Like, really? Are we like positive? He had 1 year of like crazy production. We've never seen him play at this current weight that he claims he's up to 275 now. We've never seen him play. A lot of coverage sacks.
Never seen him play edge.
Yeah, we've never seen him play. So you just stole the words out of my mouth. Why can't Greg Rousseau be a 3 tech and play inside is my conspiracy. Move him inside. I think he's better off. He can use his length better there. To me, he is like hand in the ground. If he's up against guards, like I kind of like it. Whereas if you're using him as like an outside linebacker, edge rusher, I have a lot of questions. I would tell him to gain weight and I would move him inside. For me, he's not getting a first round grade for me. End all be all, done.
And all right, check out the video above because I think all of us were a little bit lower on Greg Rousseau than seemingly everyone, and everyone's kind of moved down a little bit too. So number 2 now, a guy we didn't do a video on, AZEEZ Ojulari from Georgia, number 20 on Big Board 2.0. Nick, what do you got on him?
Yeah, so I think this is the one guy naturally as an edge rusher that with production that is going to grade as a first rounder for me. He was like the one guy as like a natural edge who was productive in 2020. You know, who played multiple games. Smaller, I think he could play hand in the dirt or upright. He's a speed rusher. His midway swat is his go-to move when he goes around a guy. He can really kind of use his hands to get around him, help him get that extra boost to get the edge. Again, really comfortable with bend. His lean is good on outside rushes. He's a technique prospect. He's not going to blow away with you with those athletic traits, I think, though, and that makes his ceiling capped. He gets pushed around in the run game quite a bit, I think, but he has some pop as a tackler. But there are some things because of his technique that a lot of underdeveloped NFLers still haven't been able to pull off because I think he has a good idea of how he can use his speed to leverage for his pass rush moves. And I think because of that, he's going to be able to fit into any system that needs that speed rusher. I look at Indy in like the late 20s, or it could be a team that's looking for an edge rusher opposite of, I think both of their edge rushers are actually free agents, so they just need edge rushers. Tennessee could be looking for edge rushers there. He's a guy that I think out of all these, I feel most comfortable calling a first rounder.
I also like AZEEZ Ojulari, like a lot. Edge 4 for me. I think, again, slam dunk first rounder. My question comes with run defense. I think he's kind of like meh. He's only 240 pounds. For me, I think he would be better suited as an outside linebacker. But if you want to play him hand in the ground defensive end, I think he's going to be fine. Just the game against Cincinnati, the Peach Bowl, like a lot of guys opt out, and he had a good enough year where he did not have to play in that game, and that was the best game of his career. So I think that solidified him as a first round pick. He was wreaking havoc after Cincinnati's right tackle got hurt, and then they put in this German kid who had never played football before, and AZEEZ figured that out pretty quick, and it worked. So listen, finishing strong, that game cemented it for me. But Nick hit it. Consistent production all year, and did play a little bit in 2019 as well and had a good year. But this was like super breakout for a slam dunk first round pick for me.
Yeah, a lot of growth from AZEEZ to 2020. It's the active hands and arms and the speed, really. That's him. Bend around the edge, swatting away the hands and the arms of the blockers, like Nick mentioned. His arms are probably longer than 6'3". Would love to get a measurement on that. 37 pressures on 193 pass rush snaps this year. That's excellent. And he's only going to be 20 on draft day, which is huge. He also had a 24.6% win rate this past season, which is 0.1 lower than Ronnie Perkins. So again, I'm going to go back and look at Ronnie Perkins. I just want it on the record.
Thank you.
I think he's just an average. AZEEZ is an average run defender. I think that's one of probably his biggest drawbacks. Lack of size, and I guess maybe resilience on the edge. And I think he maybe just lack of rush moves. It's really just the swat away the arms and beat him around the edge with your speed for AZEEZ. But I think he's a first-round pick, and I agree. I think he's probably the safest first-round pick of the edges in this class.
Yeah, number 2 edge for me, number 15 overall, the best pass rusher in this draft. Absolutely dominant this year. Tate hit on it, 9.5 sacks this year as well. Unbelievable flexibility and Ben, like Von Miller-esque. Like he corners, tackles, gets to the quarterback really well. He had to play against Tennessee. That was unbelievable where he cornered the tackle went flying, it was rolling over, and then he forced a fumble and recovered the fumble too, which is unbelievable. Great plan when attacking tackles. Really good at reacting and using his hands. Good tackler. Only missed 11 of his 50 attempts in his career. Undersized, though. Only 240 pounds. Not very powerful. Tackles can kind of push him off the ball when they get a clean hit on him. First year, he was elite, too. He was good last year. Not great in 2018. He'll walk into the NFL, though, and be able to get to the quarterback at a high level. He's an advanced pass rusher who dominated the SEC this year. So number 1 now, another guy we did a video on, Kwity Paye from Michigan, number 12 on the big board. Tate, what do you think about him?
Yeah, size and speed. Big boy, ran a 4.5 supposedly. Again, these are all rumored 40 times. Maybe Jason OWEH didn't run a 4.33. Maybe Kwity Paye didn't run a 4.5. But you see it on tape, man. He's quick. He reached a new level in 2020 when we talk about growth with AZEEZ. It's also with Kwity Paye. He was so much better this year than he was last year. He's so powerful, knocking away the hands of the offensive line. It's just a combo of speed and power. Cons, weaknesses, decision-making, man. Choice of college. Things you hate to see, folks. Michigan, just not a great choice. 1 year of production, it's just a little risky. He was fine in 2019, and again, like I said, just reached a new level in 2020. And play recognition, a couple times I saw him just get really faked out on play action and just become a total non-factor in the play. So just cleaning that up, getting a little more polish. But he's good. I think I might have been the high man or like the initial high man on Kwity Paye.
Wow.
But I think he's good.
This is a lot when you're the high man on Michigan.
It's a lot for you.
You're the high man.
I know.
On Michigan,
it pains me. I think my notes on my big board, like with shortened notes, is I think he's really good, sad, exclamation point. I think that's, yeah, he's really good, sad. That's what I have written down for Kwity Paye on the big board. But yeah, he's good. I like him. I think he's a first round pick. I'd probably take him in the top half of the first round.
Legendary 3-cone.
Legendary 3-cone is
legendary 3-cone and legendary that picture that picture I sent to the group. Get that on the screen. Get that on the screen right now. I want it.
Here.
The 3-cone, the picture, it is unbelievable. What did you run them? It was like 6'7" or something like that. Was something like that?
Oh, faster than that. It was stupid. It was stupid.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, it was like 6'5" maybe. I forgot what it was, but it was unbelievable. Shout out Austin Gale for getting that video, by the way, and putting it on the internet because it broke draft Twitter. It broke draft Twitter. So that's it. Our top 10 edges in this draft. Of course, check out that Kwity Paye video too. We did a video on him. So yeah, that's what we got. Please follow our Twitter, Instagram, TikTok @BoomerBustDraft, YouTube, anywhere you get your podcast. Please like and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit more subscribers.
That would be great.
Trying to hit 2,000 by draft day, so please help us out. And please comment any mailbag questions too. And go to Manscaped. Use the promo code Boom or Bust. Boom or Bust. No spaces, all caps for 20% off your purchase and free shipping. So for PJ Clark, Tate Sigworth, and Nick Merriam, I'm Max Chadwick. Have a great night.